And it's the state of the market for October. There's a lot happening out there in springtime.
Yeah, absolutely. Yes. It's yeah, there's a lot going on, that's for sure. Especially with property, but we'll get into that shortly.
Okay.
Let's start with the usual, the interest rates. Where are we tracking?
Yeah, well, a bit unexpected. A couple of weeks ago, the unemployment rate went up. I think the highest in 4 years. So what we saw then with that rate tracker that we track, now there's like a 67% chance of a rate drop coming up on Cup Day. I assume it must be Cup Day next week, I guess. That was not expected, but let's see, 2/3% chance of a rate cut. I don't have full confidence in that just because the Reserve Bank doesn't always follow those percentages, but still, there is a chance.
There is a chance. Yeah, exactly. So fingers crossed, everyone.
Fingers crossed.
Be nice before Christmas.
Yeah.
We've got a lot that we want to chat about today, but to start with, I just wanted to get into your repayment options. A lot of people, generally and quite traditionally have principal and interest repayments on their home loans. So I was just hoping you could just give a quick little, I don't know, tidbit guidance on principal and interest compared to interest-only repayments.
Yeah. We've had this quite a bit recently, really with investors. It's not only, but largely with our investor clients. Should I go principal and interest? Should I go interest only? So one of the first things that we will mention to our clients is talk to your accountant. Everyone's in their own situation, depending are they self-employed or not. But if I just take out the accounting advice, because we can't give taxation advice, accounting advice, but what are a couple of the key points? So what we generally see, if people have got owner-occupied debt and investment debt, they'll usually go principal and interest on the owner-occupied debt because they don't seem to be getting any tax benefit on the owner-occupied debt. So they'll make extra repayments on that, have it as principal and interest, and then maximize their potential tax deductibility on their investment lending by having interest only on their investment lending. So that's what we generally see. But there's no right or wrong. We have clients who have principal and interest on everything because they don't like debt. We have clients who have no owner-occupied debt, and then in that situation, so they don't have any owner-occupied debt to pay down, then they do principal and interest on the investment debt because, as I mentioned, they've got no owner-occupied debt. Is there a higher rate on the interest-only debt? Yes, there is a higher rate. But probably the one other thing which is really important for what we do, Haynes, is cash flow. If sometimes it's purely around cash flow, right? People have got to pay their bills, whether it's the kids at school or it's food on the table, or whether it's to afford holidays, the interest-only repayment is generally lower than the principal and interest repayment. So with all that detail, there's no right or wrong. It depends on your situation. Yeah,
exactly.
But thank you, because we had that as a request from a client to bring it up, and we do get the question a lot. So we thought we'd answer it here.
Yeah, perfect forum for it.
Cool.
Okay, so moving on, it is spring. So property is coming on the market. A lot of buyers are out there. A lot of sellers are out there. The first home owner grant has changed. So there's more availability to borrow for certain first home buyers. So I guess let's just begin with property prices.
For most of Australia, they've been rising for quite a while, but here in Victoria, for the first time in a few years, we're really seeing what appears to be a rise in prices. So if I go back, a few years ago, I'm thinking about a market where if people took a little while to buy, then, they want to get the best price, But then if the market's moving, then delaying 3 or 6 months to absolutely nail the lowest price can actually cost people money. So it seems to be more that market where getting the property, getting it in a timely fashion is really, really important. Because some of the results, like over the weekend, a couple of our clients at auction got blown away. But actually, I might throw to you on that, Aine. So you're involved in the market at the moment, and you're seeing potential auctions coming up. What do you think? And I know there's no right or wrong, people can do it differently, but what are some of the things you're thinking about in terms of there's an auction coming up, what should you do?
Well, I have engaged a buyer's advocate, so I do get advice from them. But personally, if there's a property that I want to get it off the market. So if it's coming up to auction, I don't really care. I want to buy it now. I don't particularly want to wait. I don't want others to have a chance to buy it. So
Take the competition out.
personally, yeah, exactly. Personally, I would want to make an offer before auction.
Okay. Okay. All right. So you get rid of the competition, you try to get the right price. Yeah. And then it's yours.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
And that way the person with the most money doesn't necessarily be the one that buys it. If you're aggressive and you want, I want this off the market right now. Some people will just wait for the auction and know that they've got lots above the reserve to spend, but I've got a little bit less than them, but it's above reserve and I want it now. Might mean that I get to purchase it before it goes to auction, and I don't have the most money, but I get the property.
Yeah. No, that's fair. And I know I've had this chat with a few buyers recently, and we had one of our clients where this happened for maybe 2 months ago now, where our client had an advocate and the competition didn't have an advocate. And it was either the agent or the seller who basically said, I only want to deal with the client with the advocate, because they've been burnt on a previous offer. So yeah, it can be challenging when you're competing against someone who doesn't have an advocate. So we're certainly seeing the value of advocates more and more. But I will just make the general comment with auctions. So there's no absolute right or wrong. So some people buy at auction, and there are plenty of failed auctions. So some people buy at a failed auction, they get it for a really good price. If I just think about what happened on the weekend to a couple of our clients, and where the auctions went well past the reserve. So when the market is stronger, as it appears to be moving into that direction now, one of the issues with letting it go to auction is sometimes they can fly away, right? But saying that, we also have plenty of clients who try to buy before auction, it doesn't work, and then they have to go to auction anyway.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
That happens.
Yep.
So, different ways to buy, but I guess not being passive is probably one of our general comments there, right? There's a lot of competition, and as you rightly said before, the person with the most amount of money does not always win the auction or just the purchase. Right. And it's not always about price. Sometimes it's the settlement conditions. Sometimes there's a bit of the connection in there as well. So if I'm just thinking, again, one of the reasons why people want to consider using an advocate is the advocate might work out what the main points are, and the sales price is always part of it, but sometimes it's the conditions, having more generous conditions, or a 5-day subject to finance, not a 15-day. Or sometimes our clients are buying because they're competing with someone who's not pre-approved, and agents don't like selling a property to someone who does not have an approval. So price is important, but plenty of our clients have bought even though they've offered less because they've got a stronger offer. So
the buyer's advocate, I have found ours to be, this is the second time I've used a buyer's advocate, but the first time that I've used them to buy a place for ourselves, like the first time was an investment. But I do find that they just know the ins and outs, that because they used to be an agent themselves, so they can ask the right questions to get the motivation of the vendor, to know what is their motivation to sell. It's currently empty, they're not getting, it's an investment, they're not getting any rent, they want to settle quickly, they want to get out of it, all those little bits and pieces, which I find I would never have been able to ask those questions or figure it out or have a relationship with an agent to work out those things. So they do have, they're worth their weight in gold, I find.
Totally agree. And as a buyer, sometimes you want to find out, what is the reserve, or can we get a better idea where it is? And it's very hard to get that. But
that's right.
Often a buyer's advocate, sometimes the agents are telling things to the buyer's advocate.
That's right.
Things that they're not saying to anyone else. But
exactly.
Oh, cool. And often they have been an agent, not always, but often they have been.
Often, that's right. They know the industry.
What else, Ains? I'm just conscious of time. And
I think that pretty much covers it, to be honest. We have covered a fair bit. We have taken a bit of time. So I think that's a good overview of spring property. Yeah.
I think so. And probably from our energy around buying, it's probably clear to everyone that, there's a lot of people out there trying to buy at the moment. And and it is possible, even though it can be daunting and it can get frustrating, and then some agents are saying one thing, but then where's the transparency? And oh my goodness. But
Yeah.
you got to hang in there, right? And make the move. If you're ready to go, you make the move. But anyway, good luck with everyone buying or potentially buying, and until next month.
Next month, yeah.
All right.
November.
Thanks, guys.
Okay. See you
Bye.
guys. Bye.